Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another Manchester United transfer show. And you may or may have not noticed, I've got a little bit of a new setup here. I've been playing around with a new setup. Do you prefer this kind of setup or the old setup? Please let me know in the comments or live chat. But I have changed the setup a bit. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about in today's video. So there's a lot to talk about in today's video. There's a lot about Rafael Varane, a lot of news to come out of Rafael Varane, and for the most part, very, very positive news, pretty much all positive news. Talked about price valuation, sources very, very close to Manchester United say they feel Varane will join. Varane looking for houses in Manchester could be true, and all that. So I'm going to give you the latest on Rafael Varane and tell you what all the tier 1 and credible tier 2 journalists have said. So what have the inside sources said? What has the tier 1 journalist said regarding Rafael Varane? Is this deal going to be done? When will it be done? What is the latest? So I'm going to talk about Varane first of all. Also get into these CAMAVINGA worries. There's possibility that, CAMAVINGA could choose elsewhere. There's a little bit of lots of positivity in Varane, but a little bit of negativity regarding CAMAVINGA to Manchester United. The third signing, Manchester United will sign Sancho, Varane, and one other key signing. Who could that third signing be? Could it be Declan Rice? The Lingard, West Ham can't pay the money for Lingard. Could be used Declan Rice in that deal. Could it be Kieran Trippier? So news about Kieran Trippier started again. Amir Diallo set to not go on loan and now stay at Manchester United as Rashford will miss the first few months of the season with injury. Lingard may stay and all of that. But let's get right into the Rafael Varane news and let's report everything that's been said regarding Rafael Varane. So the Athletic, Laurie Whitwell, a very, very reliable journalist. Now, Laurie Whitwell gets information from the club himself. Everything Laurie Whitwell's told basically comes from Manchester United himself. Very, very close with the club, got very, very good relations with the club, the Athletic do. And Laurie Whitwell says sources close to the situation feel Rafael Varane will end up at Manchester United. So Laurie Whitwell, reliable journalist, said that sources close to the situation feel that Rafael Varane will end up at Manchester United. Real Madrid urgently need to come up with a financial impact of the pandemic. I've misread that quote. Sorry. Real Madrid urgently need to come up with income after the financial impact of the pandemic and the cost of redeveloping the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. So sorry, I misread that. But what Laurie Whitwell said is that, sources close to Manchester United, sources close to the deal, have told him that they believe Rafael Varane will join Manchester United this summer. They say one of the reasons is because Real Madrid obviously urgently need to make money. They've done at Bernabeu. There's been impact after the pandemic. Obviously, Real Madrid are desperate to get Mbappe in, and you can get 40, 50 million pounds for Varane and get him off his wage. But I think there is that pressure of Real Madrid won't want to lose him for free. He wants to leave. They need money, and Varane could be that source of income. Now, Le 10 Sport, which is a semi-reliable source, as well said that Rafael Varane wants to leave Real Madrid and join Manchester United. If Man United match the asking price for Rafael Varane, the deal will be done. So sources from the club saying they believe Varane will join Manchester United, and also Le 10 Sport has said that they believe Rafael Varane will join Man United if Man United pay the money. And I think that's what the situation is, because we know from Fabrizio Romano, personal terms will not be an issue regarding Varane and Manchester United. We know that from Romano, personal terms will not be an issue. So Varane wants to join us. Varane wants to leave Real Madrid. We know that Varane has told Florentino Perez he wants to leave. We know Real Madrid need the money. And what Le 10 Sport is saying is, look, if Man United give Real Madrid the money for Varane, he will join Manchester United. And, all these sources close to Manchester United, all these sources involved in the deal, believe that Varane will join Manchester United this summer. Even Sky Sports started saying some positive stuff after they were quite negative yesterday, saying Manchester United held positive talks with Varane's representatives. United were given permission to speak to Varane's camp. Nothing has been agreed, but personal terms are not expected to be a problem. Sky Sports, more like Slow Sports News, 3 days behind, yet again saying personal terms won't be a problem. But a really, really interesting thing that came out from the Athletic via the Madrid zone is that Real Madrid are open to selling Varane this summer, and Manchester United know that the player would like to join them. So just more confirmation. And we know when it comes from the Athletic that the Athletic have probably been told by Man United itself or sources involved in the deal, because we know that Athletic is very, very reliable. And according to the Athletic, they said that Rafael Varane's agents have told Florentino Perez about his desire for a new talent. So just coming in today, apparently Rafael Varane's agents have told Perez that he wants to leave. And I think that is really, really interesting news. And that's just coming today, that story. Laurie Whitwell also said talks are ongoing for Rafael Varane, and United are aware he would like to join. He then again says that his agents have informed Perez of his desire to seek a new challenge. And Ancelotti's kind of upset to that. United need to see him as a potential quality addition of an elite pedigree. So again, Laurie Whitwell says, talks are ongoing between Man United and Varane. United see him as, the elite pedigree centre back that they need next to Maguire. And again, just confirming that news that's coming today, and the big news that's coming today, is that Varane has apparently got his agents to speak to Florentino Perez and say he wants to leave. And what the Athletic said, which is really big, is that sources involved in the deal and sources close to the deal believe that Varane will ultimately end up at Manchester United. So I think that's big news regarding Rafael Varane and all of that. And obviously the Manchester Evening News, again, that gets, you know, a bit of the PR spin, get information from the club, say that Man United want to make a third significant signing after they can get Rafael Varane. So the Manchester Evening News talk about Man United signing Rafael Varane and then making a third significant signing. So Sancho's done, Varane is in the works, and then once we get Varane done, United apparently want to get one more deal done. I'm going to read out a few live chats regarding the Varane news. So any questions for me regarding the Varane news, please do comment it down below. I'll read out a few live chats, but I also want to say that Marcus Rashford is going to go for surgery with his long-standing shoulder problem, so he could miss the first 2 months of next season. A lot of people frustrated that he went to the Euros and didn't do it then, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that Rashford's getting this injury sorted, because I'd rather have a fully fit Marcus Rashford for 6 months than 12 months of crap Rashford again. So very good news there. So any questions for me, please do pop them down below. But yeah, we will be talking about the CAMAVINGA transfer blow and all of that. I will get into CAMAVINGA in a second. And Adam Talk Sports has reminded me that Koundé has rejected Spurs. Everyone's rejecting Spurs. I'm pretty sure they've been rejected by 8 managers. It's literally like Spurs reject month and all of that. Ashley says we should have cleared the Deadwood. I don't see why Mata got a new contract. I agree. We will be talking about Deadwood later in the stream and all of that. And Pro Club says the confirmation of Varane and Sancho will probably be done tomorrow because of the kit announcement. Well, the confirmation of Sancho will be done tomorrow, but obviously the Varane deal is not done. Now, sources from the club and sources involved in the deal say they believe Varane will join Manchester United, but the Varane deal is not done yet. But we know personal terms isn't an issue. So what needs to go on between Varane and United is that Man United need to agree a fee with Real Madrid for Rafael Varane. And apparently, according to sources, they're 20 million apart in their valuation. Apparently, Man United valuate Varane at 40 million because he's got 1 year left, but Real Madrid are holding out for 60 million. So you know what? I think give it a week or two, and they'll probably agree on about 50 million pounds. But yeah, you know, Sancho will definitely be announced tomorrow, but the Varane deal is not done yet, obviously. But I think that will be done very soon. And look, as the Athletic said, they believe, and what they've heard from sources involved in the deal, is that this deal will happen. So I think it's going to be a big week regarding Rafael Varane to Manchester United and all of that. People talk about switching Lingard for Rice with money. I agree. Sancho set to be announced tomorrow. And yeah, the news around Rafael Varane is very positive. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. What do you think happens to Lindelof if Varane goes? Well, I think Lindelof will be benched, but obviously, you know, if an injury happens to Maguire or Varane, Lindelof will be the next player to come. Hope we sell the Deadwood. Yeah, we need to sell the Deadwood once pre-season's done and all of that. Chelsea carrying London. Chelsea are by far the best team in London. Nick Morris said he's glad that Rashford is getting surgery. At least he will have time to heal up those niggly injuries and come back fully recharged. I completely agree with that, Nick Morris. And Mr. Randomizer says Varane will join this summer, and I hope we get a CDM. Probably right. Well, there has been a bit of a CAMAVINGA blow. So, as I said earlier, the situation with Varane is that the Athletic reported that sources very close to the deal and sources inside the club are very confident Varane will join Manchester United, and you know the sources around the Varane deal believe Varane will join Manchester United. They say they believe Varane will join Manchester United. That was reported by the Athletic. We also just came in today is that Varane's agents apparently today told Florentino Perez that Varane does want to leave. So I think Real Madrid have got confirmation that Varane wants to leave, and now Real Madrid have got that confirmation that Varane wants to leave. Real Madrid have put a price tag on Varane of £60 million. The situation is United want to pay £40 million for Varane, so there's still £20 million difference in their valuation for the player. But look, at the start of the transfer window, we were 20 million away from agreeing it with Dortmund. Then we ended up paying that extra 20 million and got the deal done. I think because Varane has 1 year left on his contract, I think United could get him for 50 million. We go up 10 million. Real Madrid go down 10 million. That is the situation. But there's been a little bit of a blow on CAMAVINGA. Now, Laurie Whitwell spoke about CAMAVINGA earlier and said that Manchester United have looked at him. They know the situation very well, but it's more complicated than I suppose. A player having a year left on his contract, therefore, he's got a selection of clubs looking at him. So, Laurie Whitwell kind of said regarding CAMAVINGA to Manchester United that we are looking at CAMAVINGA, but, you know, we're focusing on this Varane deal, then we'll look at CAMAVINGA. But he said you have to be realistic with CAMAVINGA because CAMAVINGA has 1 year left on his deal. You know, there's going to be a lot of clubs going in for CAMAVINGA. There's going to be a lot of competition, and, you know, I think, you know, Varane is a very likely one, but I think CAMAVINGA, you know, would he prefer Spain or would he prefer PSG? I think with the CAMAVINGA situation, yes, Varane's looking really good, but we can't get too excited about CAMAVINGA because there's nothing strongly indicating that CAMAVINGA will choose us over PSG. I think that is sort of the situation regarding CAMAVINGA. There's been a little bit of a blow in that thing. You know, James Ducker from The Telegraph says the interest in CAMAVINGA remains very high at United, and United want the player. but they don't appear to be the most likely destination at this stage. Priority is centre-back. So, again, another English source saying, look, we really do want CAMAVINGA, but we don't look like we're going to be his most likely destination right now, which, you know what, it basically makes sense. It basically makes sense. Please do hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. I hope we get CAMAVINGA. If we keep Lingard, that's Donny gone. Yeah, I think Donny should be playing ahead of Lingard. I know Lingard had a better season, but I think we should be selling Lingard, and I think United want to give Lingard a new contract because they think they'll make more money out of him. But you gave Phil Jones a new contract, you didn't play him, so his price sank. You know, we've got Lingard's price up by going out on loan. If you give Lingard a new contract and he sits on the bench, he's not going to. He's just aging. He's not going to be any cheaper. Varane on our right side will fly. Yeah, Varane would be a very, very good signing. And Robert says, imagine a summer with Rice, Varane, Sancho, and Ronaldo. We win the league. I mean, to be fair, we probably would, to be fair. And Daniela Stewart says, you guys are getting Rice for less than 90 million. And if he puts in a transfer request, you have understand he has 3 years left on his contract. It would be a year, then he'd be cheaper. I mean, I don't know if Man United are going to sign Declan Rice this summer. I think if Paul Pogba goes, it's a real possibility. And I think the fact that, you know, we're valuing Jesse Lingard at 30 million and West Ham don't want to pay 30 million for Jesse Lingard, we could possibly do Rice plus, we could possibly do Jesse Lingard plus 60 million for Declan Rice, which is a very, very doable deal. But I think, you know, the whole Declan Rice situation, because of his price, we get Declan Rice if Pogba goes. We might go in for Declan Rice depending on who we sell. But I will keep an eye on Declan Rice. But there is talks about Manchester United wanting a third signing, and I'm going to discuss who that third signing might be. So Matt Law said that Kieran Trippier is ready to tell Atletico Madrid that he wants to return to England. Trippier now believes the time is right to move back to the Premier League and try and win his first honours in the English game. That's been reported by Matt Law. And I think the Trippier news has started to get a little bit heated up at the moment towards Man United. We know there's going to be a third signing. We know it's Sancho. We know it's Brown. We know it's a third signing. Who's that third signing going to be? Because there's a bit of a CAMAVINGA blow. People speculate it's Declan Rice, but you've got to remember the price of Declan Rice. However, news of Lingard staying, could this be used as some kind of swap deal? But the other player we've been linked to, you know, it's been Sancho Varane, and it's been a mixture of CAMAVINGA, Trippier, and Declan Rice as that third player. Is Kieran Trippier. You know, he's won the Euros. He's been in England. He's been with the England camp. He wants to go back to the Premier League. Man United like him and stuff. And, you know, the only reason Man United dropped their interest in Kieran Trippier is because Atletico Madrid valued him at £30 million. United said, we're not going to pay that for a backup right back. But maybe if Kieran Trippier pushes Atletico Madrid to sell him, we could get the deal done. But we definitely have to keep an eye on the Kieran Trippier deal because, you know, some people speculate that Declan Rice could be this third signing we want. I have a feeling it could be Kieran Trippier. Now, obviously, the Real Madrid Man United Varane situation looks really positive in Man United's favour. It looks really, really like we're going to get Rafael Varane. You know, sources in the club are saying they believe Varane will join and all of that. But Sport Witness did say that Manchester United is still willing to pay 45 million euros for defender Christian Romero. Now, I see this news as let's tell an unreliable source to leak a lot of news about us going for other centre-backs so Madrid lower their asking price. Now, I think this rumour that we're willing to buy Christian Romero, I think we've done this on purpose because right now the news is we want 40 million for Varane, Real Madrid want to get 60 million for Varane. So we're 20 million pounds away in our valuation for Rafael Varane. Now, we went in for our first bid for Sancho, then we got told we're looking elsewhere because he's too expensive from unreliable sources. Then we brought Sancho. I reckon we're saying that we're willing to pay 45 million euros for Christian Romero today, and that news is being leaked today because we want to see if Real Madrid will drop their price if they think we look elsewhere. Because we know Real Madrid have to sell Varane this summer because they don't want to risk losing on a free. We know Real Madrid want the money. You know, Varane wants to come to us. Personal terms isn't an issue. We know Real Madrid need the money for Varane. They don't want to lose him on a free, and they want to get Mbappe in. They've had pandemic problems. They've had problems with the stadium. So I think this news that United are willing to pay 45 million for defending Christian Romero could be used as a way to try and lower Varane's asking price because Real Madrid are holding out for 60 million. We're paying 40 million. So there's 20 million apart in the valuation between Man United and Real Madrid for Rafael Varane. But you know what? Being linked to another centre-back, I'm sure we're going to get linked to a few centre-backs in the next week because I think we've pretty much been told that, you know, it's very, very likely that Brown comes to Manchester United. You know, Le 10 Sport says Varane will leave Real Madrid and join Manchester United if United match the asking price. So Le 10 Sport saying, look, if we pay the price for Varane, he will leave Real Madrid and join United. We know from The Athletic that, you know, sources involved in the deal believe Varane will join United. We know that Varane's whole Florentino Perez wants to leave today. I think the situation is United pay their money, we get Rafael Varane. We're now probably discussing in early talks with Real Madrid about the price for Rafael Varane. They want 60 million, we want 40 million. Let's go leak loads of stories. You know what? We'll get linked to Pau Torres tomorrow and we'll get linked to Jules Koundé tomorrow. And I tell you what, if we get linked to centre-backs tomorrow, that's a very, very good thing because that means Man United are negotiating with Real Madrid for Rafael Varane. So I think that's very, very good news that we've actually started to get linked to a couple centre backs. And in terms of the outs, we know that Jesse Lingard obviously could go to West Ham, but they won't pay the money. But apparently AS Roma are interested in Alex Telles, but there's been no official club-to-club contact yet. So could Alex Telles be leaving? Well, we know we want to get Brandon Williams out on loan. There's a bit of doubt if we can get him out on loan or not. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on the Alex Telles story and all of that. We got Dalot, so I don't think we're going to get Trippier. Well, Dalot might leave, so we'll have to see what happens with Dalot. Because if Dalot stays, I think Trippier is unlikely. But we have been told it's Sancho, Varane, and a third signing. And I think this third signing could be Declan Rice. It could be CAMAVINGA, but there's been a little bit of a drop on the CAMAVINGA story. But I think it definitely could be Kieran Trippier if they lower their price. Alice, this isn't about Varane, but on Chelsea and Haaland, because I don't think Chelsea will get him. But I think Manchester United will buy Haaland next season when his release clause is. Well, the thing about Roman Abramovich is that if Roman Abramovich wants a player, he will buy them. He'll pay the money for him. And I think with Dortmund, they don't want to risk losing Haaland for 6 million last summer, even though they lost Sancho this summer. I actually think Chelsea will just go pay the money. I think Chelsea could very likely get Erling Haaland, because you know what Chelsea are like. Chelsea very, very likely to pay the money. George Kessler's asked if there's any news on Dan James. Is he staying or not? Well, it's gone really, really quiet, but we know Graham Potter's a fan of Dan James, and we know Leeds are a fan of Dan James. And I think, we've been told that Ahmed will no longer go out on loan because of Marcus Rashford's injury. So we want to relieve the pressure off Greenwood, Sancho, and Martial, because obviously, so Ahmed's going to stay. But there's no talk about Dan James staying. And I think the Dan James to Brighton news will probably heat up after pre-season. I think we want to keep Dan James for pre-season because we won't be using Sancho or Rashford in pre-season because obviously of the England Euros. So I think that Dan James will probably likely leave, considering we're giving Mata a new contract and we're telling Amad Diallo he can no longer go out on loan because of Rashford's injury. However, with Rashford's injury, we could force Dan James to stay, but I think Dan James could possibly leave. And if there's any news that comes out on Dan James, I will report it on the channel. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel, because I do report on daily Manchester United news, daily updates on the channel. If a player leaves the club or a player is going to leave the club, there will be a video. If Paul Pogba's going to leave, there will be a video. If we're about to sign a player, there'll be a video. The moment we sign Varane, there'll be a video. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United trust news, please do subscribe and, of course, hit that like button. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. This guy says, when will the centre-forward striker position be resolved? Cavani has a year not playing all games. Who is the long-term target? Well, I don't really know. I think we'll probably be focusing on a striker next summer. Cavani's staying for a year. We've got Martial back there and Greenwood can play through the middle. So we won't be signing a striker this summer. But I think when Cavani goes next summer, it really depends on how does Greenwood or Martial do and all of that. Pogba, Fernandes, new deal. We are working to get a new deal on Pogba, Fernandes and Luke Shaw. Obviously, apparently working on a new deal with Jesse Lingard, but who knows and all of that. But any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. The latest news coming in today is that Varane has told Florentino Perez that he wants to leave and join Manchester United. And sources involved in the Manchester United Varane deal believe that Varane will join Manchester United this summer. The Athletic have reported that. So that's the really interesting news coming in regarding Manchester United and Varane. So I think this Varane deal is massively going to heat up in the next week and all of that. Raheem says Verratti plus cash for Pogba this window, or beg Pogba and Raiola to sign a contract extension. 430k a week, Raiola different fees, with probably that wages only Bruno. Yeah, the situation with Paul Pogba is, I think, we can give Paul Pogba massive wages. We can convince him to stay, but PSG are very, very interested in Paul Pogba. So we do need to keep an eye out on the Paul Pogba situation. But as I've said, look, I'm 80% sure Varane will come to Manchester United. We've been told if Man United give Real Madrid £50 million, Varane will join Man United. We know Varane wants to join Manchester United. With CAMAVINGA, I'm 50-50 because the situation with CAMAVINGA is he does prefer PSG, he does prefer Spain. We're not almost winning the race for CAMAVINGA, and I think that's the same with Paul Pogba. Like, I've got a bit of confidence over the Varane deal, but I couldn't tell you right now what Paul Pogba or CAMAVINGA is going to do. Like, I feel like we're going to sign Varane, but I couldn't tell you about the other players if you want my honest opinion and all of that. Any questions for me, please do put them down below. Who has a better chance of joining Manchester United, Kane or Ronaldo? I believe none of these deals will happen, but I'd probably say Kane because he would want to stay in the Premier League. And if City can't sign him this summer, we could maybe go in for him next summer. So I'd probably say Kane. Sancho wrote on Insta, no racism. Yeah, obviously Sancho's posted on Instagram, go show Sancho, Saka and Rashford a lot of support, because unfortunately a small minority of people who are uneducated decide to blame them for the colour of their skin, which is ridiculously stupid. So everybody, make sure you show support to Rashford, Sancho and Saka. And if you ever thought about sending them abuse, please don't, because it's just stupid, isn't it? Ross says, I would take trips and try Wan-Bissaka centre-back in that system. England play 5 at the back. I mean, yeah, you could, but I don't want to see United play 5 at the back. I do feel like Wan-Bissaka did almost deserve to go to the Euros because I think Reece James is a great player and all of that. But Reece James barely played at the Euros, and Reece James didn't really play that much for Chelsea come end of the season. I think, with Trent's form being on and off and Reece James not playing that much, and Kyle Walker got benched by Cancelo, who obviously Kyle Walker was brilliant in the Euros. I do think Wan-Bissaka does deserve an England call-up soon, to be fair. And it kind of annoyed me in the sense that, even though Wan-Bissaka wasn't called up to like the 33-man squad, I thought, look, fair enough not taking him to the Euros, but I would have called him up to the 33-man squad. My camera has gone a little bit blurry, so I do apologise for that. I don't know how blurry it is on your screen, so I do apologise for that. Any questions for me, please do comment them down below. If you want to know any questions about transfer news or any questions to me about Manchester United, comment them down below as I'm covering all the Man United transfer topics. This comment says, I still can't believe we haven't gone for the likes of Basuma or Sakari at CDM. Basuma wasn't even part of the Euros. Can't believe it. Yeah, you make a good point. Look, there's some deals we could do for cheap. Like, we desperately need a CDM. And look, we've signed Sancho. It's looking very, very likely we'll sign Rafael Varane, but there's no strong indication of a CDM. There's the CAMAVINGA links, but he's not really an out-and-out CDM. And there's a bit of a CAMAVINGA blow today. There's obviously the Declan Rice links, but we've been told, Declan Rice won't happen unless we sell Paul Pogba, or we get him for a much cheaper price, or he forces a move. So it's like, are we going to sign a CDM or not? Because I can't believe going into the summer that CDM isn't priority. I can't believe that a CDM is not a priority position when it should be the priority position. And I do look at players like Basuma and Sakara, and maybe they're not like the out-and-out CDM, but they're a CDM because we've only got Matic as a CDM. And I just go, Sakara's got, 1 year left? That's going to be 25, 30 million pounds. Obviously Basuma's about 30, 40 million pounds, and we know that Brighton are buying Dan James. We also know that, Brighton could be interested on James Garner and loan, who's a CDM. And I think, look, at the end of the day, look, give them Dan James, 10 million, ask for Basuma, give them James Garner on loan. You could get Basuma for maybe 20 million quid if you involved Daniel James in that deal. And I think that's something United should definitely look into doing. But we're not linked to Basuma at all. And it does worry me a little bit. It does worry me a little bit. And I do question about the future of James Garner. I'm really excited to see how James Garner does do in pre-season. But I think maybe we're waiting to see how James Garner does in pre-season before we sign a CDM. But I'm not too sure with the CDM situation at the moment, but it's a little bit frustrating. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe to the channel, as I do daily Manchester United news updates on the channel. I do a video pretty much every evening telling you all the news that's coming today. And as we know today, Rashford will be missing 2 months of the season with injury. Lingard could be set to stay. CAMAVINGA could be off to Spain. But the Varane deal is very, very likely, as he told Florentino Perez he'd like to join Manchester United. And now Man United and Varane are 20 million apart in their valuation for the player. And we've been told if Man United pay the money, they will sign Rafael Varane this summer. And sources close to Manchester United say they believe Varane will join Man United this summer. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news, please do subscribe down below, because the moment we sign Varane, there will be a live stream to announce that we signed the player. The moment we're about to sign a player, there'll be a live stream. The moment we sell a player, there'll be a live stream. If Ole gets sacked, there'll be a live stream. There'll be watch-alongs, match reactions, match previews. So if all of that sounds like something you'd be into, please do subscribe to the channel. We're 50 subscribers away from 15.2k. So on the road to 20k now, on the road to 20k. Can we hit 20k by the end of 2021? And all that. Starlord believes that CAMAVINGA is not ready for a full season in France and isn't ready enough to come to the Premier League. I mean, I think he is ready, but he's quite young, so he doesn't guarantee game time and all of that. I'm trying to read out as many live chats as possible. So any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat, and I'll try and answer some of them. Someone said, who's the bigger club, Liverpool or Manchester United in the last 2 years? I think Liverpool. Well, Liverpool obviously won the Premier League in the last 2 years. We haven't won anything, but I think we're still a bigger club. We're still a bigger club because, Liverpool just scraped top 4. Well, I think club size is off fan base, though, not what you win, because Man City have won the most in the last 2 years, and United are by far a bigger club than Man City. This guy says there's a chance that the deal for Diego Dalot to AC Milan could be done in the next few weeks unless Man United prevent it. And that's the thing. So we've obviously been told that Man United are going to make a third significant signing on top of Sancho and Varane, and as much as I'd like this third signing to be Declan Rice or a CDM, if you're my honest opinion, I think it could be Trippier, because we're going to get 15, 20 million for Dalot. I think that's going to be done, this week, and I do think Dalot is like to leave, because we know Ole doesn't really rate Dalot, and he never really has. So I do think that third signing to United could be Kieran Trippier, and that heating up. Obviously, there's reports that Varane is looking for a house in Manchester that did come out today, so definitely keep an eye on that. But no one super reliable is reporting it. Rafael Varane. not Rafael Varane. Real Madrid announced at the end of the season they only had a profit of £874,000. So Real Madrid did not make the greatest profit. So they'll probably have to look into selling Rafael Varane. Mr. Randomizer said, I'd let Lingard go and enjoy his career instead of wasting time at Manchester United. I agree. Lingard needs game time. He's good enough to be playing week in, week out in the Premier League. I wouldn't want to sit on the bench for a year at United and all of that. Paulinho is a CDM for 80 million would be a good deal. I agree. I'd take any CDM, but yeah, that would be a good deal. Lingard needs to leave and play somewhere else if he wants to play World Cup. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Randomizer says, what about the 3 years United is better than Liverpool? United is better than Liverpool. We all know that. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. Shaw is better at centre-back with Varane and Maguire. Wan-Bissaka, not really centre-back, as better right-back, tracking back to defend. I think the back four should be Shaw, Varane, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka. Next season, I don't not want to see a back five. Rice is basic. Why can't people see this? Says TDJ. Look, I think Rice is a good player, but I think, you don't want Rice and McTominay and Bruno. You want Rice, Pogba, Bruno, because Rice going forward doesn't really offer anything, which doesn't really matter because you've got Pogba, Bruno and Donny. But if you play Declan Rice, I don't want to see Declan Rice play with McTominay and defensive football. I want to see Declan Rice at CDM, Pogba at box-to-box, or Donny at box-to-box and Bruno at cam. I think Declan Rice is a good signing depending on who you play him with. I don't think Declan Rice and McTominay will work. Having said that, McTominay could turn into a Souček kind of player. This guy says, buy CDM now and go on a future CDM for later. I agree. O'Neill will come through next season alongside Green, where there will come strikers. We've got a lot of good young players. We've got Joe Hugo and Charlie McNeil. Those are the two interesting players coming through in the youth academy. And I think we will see a little bit of maybe players like Joe Hugo or McNeil in pre-season. I think we'll see a few of the youngsters in pre-season. Maybe Hannibal Mejbri, Shola Shatiri, Anthony Elanga. I think we'll be seeing a lot of those players in pre-season. I think the one thing I like about pre-season is although we won't be seeing Sancho until maybe the last game of pre-season, it'll be really interesting to see the youngsters. And do you think that Diallo and Sancho will be a rotation role for the right wing if Ole decides to start using subs? Well, unfortunately, we give Mata a new contract. And I think as much as I think Diallo should be playing over Mata because I think we know what Mata offers and we don't know yet what Diallo offers, I think Ole would be playing Diallo as backup right mid to Sancho, if you want my honest opinion. Mr. Randomizer says, Calvin Phillips, I've liked, is a fantastic player who could play CDM and could help Bruno and Pogba. Yeah, I mean, I'd take Calvin Phillips, but he's more of a pivot player again. He's not someone that really holds on his own. And I think, you almost want Declan Rice because he's more of the holder between Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, because Declan Rice did more of the defensive work. Calvin Phillips was more the legs. Hopefully Rashford comes back stronger than ever. Yeah, I have no issue with Rashford taking time off because at the end of the day, all I want is Rashford back at his best. And look, the last 6 months, he hasn't been great. And I think, we need to get Rashford back to his best. So, yeah, I agree. I personally myself, have no issue with Rashford taking this time off. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily United content. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United transfer news and news, please do subscribe to the channel. Of course, hit that like button, guys. Every like, sub, share means a lot. Let's see if we can get 100 likes before the end of the live stream. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. But if you've just joined the live stream, what is the news coming in? What is the latest news today? And all of that. Well, Rashford set to miss 2 months with injury. There's a bit of a CAMAVINGA blow. But also with other stories coming in today is that, of course, Rafael Varane has told Florentino Perez he wants to join Manchester United. Varane has officially told Real Madrid he wants to join Manchester United. That news has been reported by The Athletic today, and The Athletic have said that sources close to the club have told them they believe Varane will join Manchester United. So sources close to Man United and sources close to the Varane to Man United deal believe Varane will join Manchester United, which is very, very interesting news coming in. There's reports of Man United paying 40 million for him, Real Madrid valuing at 60 million pounds. But, Man United will always come short of the first original valuation. But I think the Varane to Man United news is really heating up this week. Varane wants to leave. He's not using us for a new contract. Fabrizio Romano confirmed yesterday that Varane is not using us for a new contract. So for all of you that's just joined the live stream, sources involved in the deal and sources close to the deal generally believe that Varane will join Manchester United and United will get this deal over the line. And it's been reported as long as Man United pay the money for Rafael Varane, they can get this deal done. So definitely keep an eye on the Varane to Manchester United news because it's really going to heat up this week. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. What about the Barca Atletico swap deal for Sound against Griezmann? That's an interesting deal if it goes ahead because I do know Liverpool want Sal Niguez, I'd like Sal Niguez, but Sal Niguez to Griezmann swap deal. Barcelona only bought Griezmann 2 seasons ago, but that would be a mad swap down. Simbarella to Liverpool with 70 million or 59 million pounds. This will make Liverpool look good if they sign an attacker and a midfielder. We will win the league, in my opinion. You know, Liverpool are really looking to. They signed Canote as well. Liverpool, you know, they're going to be a threat next season. They've got Van Dijk back. They didn't have a great season. They're really pushing to challenge Man City. So you don't want to sleep on Liverpool next season, you know, especially if they sign a few players. Pogba getting a new contract. Well, Man United want Pogba to sign a new contract. He's still open to joining PSG and all of that. But I don't know with the Paul Pogba situation. I think United are going to try and keep Paul Pogba. But if Paul Pogba literally says to them, there's no way I'm signing a new deal, United will be forced into selling Paul Pogba. But I think they will keep him. Official that Real Madrid has now a net debt of 240 million euros. So, you know, big good news for Man United that the Real Madrid debt is increasing because, we want Varane. You know, Madrid do want Kylian Mbappe, but you ain't going to get Kylian Mbappe unless you sell Varane. And, you know what, even if there's a 20 million gap in the valuation between Man United and Real Madrid for Varane, I think United are in a power seat to get Varane done. Varane wants us. Personal terms isn't an issue. Madrid are in debt. You know, United are really in the power seat to get this Varane deal done because obviously if Real Madrid don't sell Varane, they lose him absolutely nothing next year, and they won't want to do that because they need the money. So more news about the Real Madrid debt only benefiting Man United. So what can I say? This guy says United announcing the Sancho deal shows the prediction that the owners are bankers and bothered about profit making short deals. This is the thing. We all could predict that we were going to announce Sancho with a new shirt sponsor. It didn't take a genius to predict that. And I guess it is kind of sad because it highlights that our club, you know, the way we went about it, let's sign Sancho and announce him with a new sponsor because we'll make more sales. But you know what? The owners of our club are fucking idiots. They're really good at making money, but they know fuck all about football. And unfortunately, that is how it is. And, you know, that's how the owners of our club are. But yeah, frustrating in that sense that, you know, it's clear that, you know, I think Sancho's priority signing because there was so much pressure on the Glazers. We lost a lot of money. There was a lot of pressure on the sponsors pulling out. So what did our owners do? Our owners signed Sancho. Sancho's a great signing. I have no way complaining that we signed Jadon Sancho. But look, I've said it time and time again. We signed Jadon Sancho as priority because we needed the shirt sales from Jadon Sancho. We needed all of this from the Jadon Sancho deal. You know, we needed a CDM and a centre-back more than we needed Jadon Sancho. I actually think that Rafael Varane will have a better impact on us than Jadon Sancho in the sense that, like, our attack is good, our defence isn't. But I'm so happy we signed Jadon Sancho and he's a player that I love. But it's so obvious that Jadon Sancho was number one priority because for the Glazers' pockets. You know, the Glazers thought, shit, the fans hate us more than ever because of the Super League. There's been the protests. How do we win back the fans? The Glazers go, let's sign Jadon Sancho. Cool, you win back a lot of fans signing Jadon Sancho. You get a shit ton of shirt sales for Sancho 7. Everyone knows that. But if, you know, look, Sancho's a good signing, we do need a right winger. But if the Glazers were really serious and they really only cared about the football and not the profit side and the business side, we all know that, you know, a CDM and Varane would have come before Jadon Sancho. But hopefully we get Sancho, a CDM and Varane anyway. But we better sign a CDM this summer or I will be very, very frustrated. Niall Kane says, smash the like button. Yeah, guys, I think we're 10, 15 likes away from 100 likes. So please do smash that like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe down below if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, daily Manchester United content on the Alex Talks Football channel. So please subscribe. If we sign Varane, there will be a live stream. If we're on the verge of signing Varane, there will be a live stream. If we sell a player, there will be a live stream. If we sign another player, there will be a live stream. If something massive happens regarding Man United news, there will be a live stream. If the Glazers finally decide to sell the club, there will be a party live stream. But look, there's going to be a lot of content coming up, pre-season starting, watch-alongs, match reactions, match previews, transfer news. So I'm plugging the channel. As always, I like to plug the channel, so please do subscribe if you're new. And that sounds like something you might like. Carbon Phillips is better than Rice. I think there's not much difference. I think Rice would be a better signing for Manchester United because he's more defensive-minded than Carbon Phillips. Going forward, Carbon Phillips offers more, but defensively, I think with Pogba, Bruno, Donny, we'd probably need Rice more, in my opinion. Nathan says, going back a little, can we afford to play Wan-Bissaka as centre-back? He's constantly drifting out of position. Probably, I don't think Wan-Bissaka will be a good centre-back. Maybe in a 5-at-the-back system, but not in a 4-at-the-back. We can't plan the future with Paul Pogba. We need to sell him rather than give him a huge contract. If he deserves the contract, he's going to make a huge disaster since other players are going to ask for wages. Giving Paul Pogba a massive new contract is a big risk because are we going to get the bad Paul Pogba or the good Paul Pogba next season? Look, I want to keep Paul Pogba because I think he's irreplaceable. I think there's not a player out there like Paul Pogba, and I think what United need to do is give Paul Pogba a contract and build a team around Paul Pogba and get the best out of him. Get CAMAVINGA in or get someone to play in the pivot with him and give Paul Pogba. If you give Paul Pogba a new contract, you have to sign someone to play in the pivot with him. Because we're not getting the best out of Paul Pogba. And if you're giving Paul Pogba ridiculous wages and you're not getting the best out of him, is it worth selling him? But the thing about it, I think the main reason I want to keep Paul Pogba is because I don't trust the Glazers to replace him. And I think we'll get worse if we sell Paul Pogba next season. And, Paul Pogba makes Bruno better. He makes a lot of the players around him better. McTominay looks better next to Paul Pogba than he does next to Fred. And all of that. Pogba won't sign because other clubs are desperate for him. I have no idea what's going to happen with the Paul Pogba situation. It's a 50-50. I'm quite confident United are going to get Varane. I don't really know about CAMAVINGA. I say that's a 50-50. There's been a bit of a blow on that. I think Trippier is still up in the works. That's a 50-50. But I couldn't tell you about Paul Pogba. It's a 50-50 for me. And all of that. Manchester United ideally want to sell players before deciding whether or not to make a bid for Kieran Trippier, says Matt Law. I think, what Matt Law means is if we can sell Delo for 15-20 million, we'll probably get Kieran Trippier. I think that's really what Matt Law is hinting there. Ryan Lowe says, Barca are ridiculous. Their club is rotten from top. Remind me of the old Juventus when they were match fixing. They had the same vibe. I don't like Barcelona, but Messi did cut his wages to stay at Barcelona, which is interesting. I've seen rumours that Sal was looked at by Man United and Liverpool is more likely. I think Sal's going to Barcelona now, but I think Liverpool is the most likely Premier League destination for Soundagaze. We get Soundagaze links a lot, but I believe that we won't sign Soundagaze. I believe Rashford will be out for probably the first 12 Premier League games, a good 2 to 3 months. Probably won't be back till November time. He's got his operation, he's got his recovery time. But I think the good thing about signing Jadon Sancho is he's not just a right winger, but he can also play on the left wing. And you've got Martial back fully fit. And you know what? But now we signed Sancho, I don't think Rashford being out will be as big a miss as it would normally be. And I think it's good that he's getting his rest and recovery. I think it's good that he's getting his issues fixed. Should he have gone to the Euros? Probably not. He was barely used in the Euros. But, I understand why you'd want to go to the Euros. I know Greenwood and Rashford were both injured. But, I think Rashford will miss about 2 months, by the way. Tuanzebe news, I think he's our best centre-back cover with Eric, but he's been linked to loan. I think Tuanzebe will leave Manchester United this summer, whether it's on loan or whether it's permanent. Look, I think I would play Tuanzebe over Victor Lindelof. It's an unpopular opinion of mine. I really like Tuanzebe. I actually think, the last couple of games of the season, when he played next to Lindelof, he looked better than Lindelof. But when he played next to Baye, he also looked better than Baye. And I'm a big fan of Baye. I would actually, my first choice said about pairing, if we don't sign Varane, would be Tuanzebe and Maguire because Tuanzebe's the quickest. And I think he has the potential to be the best. And Baye's a little bit risky. But I think Tuanzebe will leave Manchester United, which is a shame. But yeah. Paul Gray says the board are spending money on players and ground refurbishments because they superly fuck up. Yeah, I mean, I said this earlier. I was talking to my stepdad earlier. I said, look, it wouldn't surprise me if Man United had a really good transfer window, signed Sancho, Varane, and let's say CAMAVINGA or another player. Like it wouldn't surprise me if we signed Sancho, Varane, and CAMAVINGA this summer because it's not that the board want to spend money and turn our second into first. It's that the board are like, shit, the fans hate us. We've had to apologise twice. We need to win the fans back because now we've lost the fans. We're making less money from our sponsorship deals. We're making less money from other companies. What we're going to do, have a good chance to win. So I think one of the reasons we signed Sancho and Varane and could have a good chance to win, it was just all about winning the fans back. It's not about them wanting to get the best out of us. I 100% agree. And all of that. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. Do you think Ole could be a top manager like Guardiola or Klopp? Look, I'm Ole in. I know it's a bit hypocritical, but I am Ole in just because he got a second. I think Ole does know what he's doing in the sense of, I think, he clearly does something at half time because first half was shit, second half were brilliant. I think the players do play for Ole, but I think Ole's got to learn to give players a chance. You've got to rest players more. I think Ole's got a lot to learn. I think Ole's like an apprentice. He's got a lot to learn, and I think he has the potential to possibly be. I think he needs to be back this summer. You get him a CDM, you get him a Varane, you get him Sancho. I think he can. I expect him to be at least winning a trophy and doing really well in the Premier League with that. But look, his subs are questionable. The McFred priority is questionable. However, he only really plays McFred when it's Lindelof and Maguire, and maybe he actually would rather Pogba and Donny play. but he's like, I don't trust Lindelof, and he plays him at Fred. I think with Ole, he's a bit of an apprentice. You'd have to give him 1 or 2 years to really see and back him and see what he does. And, you know, because if you sign a CDM, I don't think we'll be seeing him at Fred next season. If you sign Varane, I don't think we'll be seeing Lindelof next season. And maybe Ole knows that Fred and Lindelof are a weakness. So I don't really know about that question, to be honest. But very good question there. Very good question. If Pogba plays like second half of last season, I think we'll get the best out of him. Yeah, we want to see the best of Paul Pogba for sure. Any questions for me? Please do pop them down below in the live chat. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes reading out as many questions that you guys have for me as possible. So please do pop them down below. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. Arsenal did lose 2-1 to Hibs. Hopefully Arsenal lose all their Premier League games so we can laugh at their relegation in their All or Nothing series on Amazon. Hello, Alice. Rashford lost, but we have Sancho agreement to play position. Exactly. And all of that. If you could only get one significant signing, who would it be? Wilfred Ndidi for me. Tuanzebe deserves to start either at Manchester United or somewhere else. He's so good, not a bench player at all. Tuanzebe is good enough to be playing week in, week out in the Premier League. I believe it. I genuinely believe it. What do you think of the new set-piece coach we appointed a couple of days ago? Yeah, Man United did get a new set-piece coach a couple of days ago. We signed a guy from Chelsea, a set-piece coach from Chelsea, which is very, very interesting because we're crap at set pieces. He's a really good coach. He's worked at Chelsea. If you look at the goals, we can see, look. I think if I was going to tell you 5 negatives about last season, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go, because I do always have 5 things we've learned after each game. You know, I always talk about 5 things we've learned from every match. And there was 5 things that I consistently picked out from last season in a negative sense. So that was, Fred doesn't work, they get overrun. Everyone knows the first issue at United is Fred. The second issue is we know that Maguire and Lindelof is not the best centre-back partnership. We need pace at the back. I think they're 2 issues that everyone knows. The third issue we always talk about is Wan-Bissaka's positioning. You know, do we need a defensive coach? The 4th issue is why is Maguire's sweeper and Lindelof going up to the striker to head the ball when Maguire's better in the air and Lindelof's probably better as a sweeper? And the 5th issue is set pieces. You know, they're the 5 big issues at Man United. And the new defensive coach coming in will probably resolve set pieces. And he's a very, very good coach. And hopefully he turns around to Ole and the coaching staff and goes, why is Lindelof marking Dominic Calvert-Lewin and why is Maguire standing off him? You know, but I think that coach could have just a bigger impact as a new signing, because if you've got to think, only Leeds conceded more goals from Manchester United from set pieces last season. So I think a set piece coach, believe it or not, could get you 6 more points a season, 6-7 more points a season, which is a significant amount. Especially, you know, if we were in a title race, that's 6-7 points is a lot. And I think, you know, if we get a set piece coach, that would be massive. I think it would have a massive impact on us and all of that. Aiden says, I want to see more of Van der Beek next season. I want to see more of Van der Beek next season. I think Van der Beek's game time depends on Pogba, depends on who we sign, it depends on who we sell. But hopefully we will see more of Van der Beek next season. I think he is going to stay. There's obviously rumours about him leaving, but I think I'm more confident that Van der Beek will stay. Shah says, are you sure we're getting Varane? Apparently we can't agree personal terms. Fabrizio Romano said personal terms won't be a problem, and it's basically been unofficially agreed. So I'm not sure you've heard that, but we will agree personal terms with Varane. That's nothing to worry about. Dylan Duffy says, Alice, exactly. Ole's like a new manager who just came in. Yeah, Ole is a bit of an apprentice kind of, but give him time. Well, I don't want to say give him time. Just back Ole and see where he is at Christmas. Then maybe sack him, maybe keep him. If we sign CAMAVINGA, would you play him ahead of Fred? Not. This is the thing, you know, I sound kind of hypocritical because I'm like, why is Fred and McTominay always play with Donny? But CAMAVINGA is 18, so I would start with Fred, Pogba, Bruno, but I'll play CAMAVINGA in a couple games and see how he does. Or if we're winning 2-0, put CAMAVINGA on 60, 70 minutes in because he's a bit better defensively than Fred. CAMAVINGA is a player that I would give him a couple games here and now at the start of the season, but then come the end of the season, if he looks good in those games, give him more game time. Because, you know, Donny didn't play much in the first few games of the season, but then he looked good. So then I would have played Donny a lot more towards the end of the season, but Ole didn't. So I think CAMAVINGA's like, you mould him in, and then at the end of the season, you start playing him regularly, depending on how good he looks in his first couple of games. No Ahmad or Baye for a few months, both out for the Olympics. Exactly. They won't be in pre-season. But that means we could see Hannibal Meshbury, maybe Joe Hugo, Charlie McNeil, a lot of players that we haven't seen much in pre-season. Top 3 centre-backs in the PL, Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Diaz, Harry Maguire. In that order, I think, if you want my honest opinion. Who was the most underrated player at Man United last season? Most underrated player? I don't know, because if you're going off second half of the season, I thought Maguire was fantastic. I think Wan-Bissaka, just because he's not beautiful going forward, gets a little bit underrated. I think De Gea can be underrated at times. Most underrated United player, though. Look, part of me says Martial sometimes, but he was crap last season. I think Fred isn't as bad as people make out. But I'd probably say Maguire. Maguire probably the most underrated United player because I think everyone's really seeing that he actually is a top centre-back now at the Euros. What about Trippier? Well, look, we've been linked to Kieran Trippier. He wants to come back to England. United want him, but I think it depends on Diego Dalot. I think it depends. If we can sell Diego Dalot, and we want to sell Diego Dalot, I think we are likely to get Trippier if we can get him for an affordable price because Trippier wants to leave, but Atletico Madrid want to get money for Trippier. So I think a lot of it depends on Dalot. What is a successful season for United in your mind? Win a trophy and actually be in a proper title race. Ole hasn't got an excuse now for not using squad rotation. Hopefully Ole rotates the squad more next season. I think one of my criticisms of Ole was Donny van de Beek should have got more game time, Tuanzebe should have got more game time, and Diallo should have come off the bench and it matter. If you look at our players towards the end of the season, Bruno looked knackered. Rashford got injured, Greenwood got injured, Maguire got injured. They're players that Ole massively overused, and I think if he had used Donny a little bit more or used another player a little bit more, there would have been less injuries and all that. My hair is all over the place, so sorry I keep moving it, but it's really pissing me off because it's getting in my face. Look, my hair's really pissing me off today. Fergie hadn't won anything when he's Ole's age. Give Ole a chance. We are playing attacking football for the first time since Fergie. Well, we do play defensive football and we do play attacking football under Ole. It really changes, but what I'd like to see is Ole get back this summer, give him Varane, give him a CDM, see how he does at Christmas, see what kind of football he's playing, see what the results are doing, see what the table looks like. Jadon Sancho will wear number 7, as he stated in an Instagram post, JS7. I mean, I believe he'll wear number 7, but it really depends on Cavani. Nick Morris says he thinks Fred was underrated last season, made mistakes, but done a lot of legwork off the ball, and people don't see. Look, I think the problem is when Fred play together, I'm going to say 70% of the time when we see Fred is better than McTominay 70% of the time, because if you actually look at them for their role, they're playing a CDM, and Fred does a lot more of the defensive work. Fred's a lot more mobile. Fred's better at tackling. He's better at sweeping. He's more of the engine. 70% of the time when we see Fred, they're both normally crap, but Fred is a lot better than McTominay. And I think Fred gets dragged down a bit because we always see Fred as one player because they just do the role that one good player can do. But you know what I mean? Because they're so restrictive. And I think a lot of people see Fred as one player, but I'm like, McTominay put in a 5 out of 10 performance and Fred put in a 7 out of 10 performance, but everyone will assume that Fred put in a 5 out of 10 performance because McTominay put in a 5 out of 10 performance. And I've always said that 70% of the time Fred looks better than McTominay because Fred's more suited to that position. Whether McTominay will be a better player and McTominay could be a better box to box, but I do think Fred almost gets a bit of criticism because he gets thrown in with McTominay because he plays, I think we always see Fred as one person. We see Fred as one player, so we criticise them both, but actually most of the time Fred's all right and it's McTominay that's poor. Do you think Hannibal and Elanga will get more game time this season? Honestly, I doubt it. I think Elanga will go on loan. I think Hannibal will get a few cup games here and there and then possibly a loan next season. I think we'll see them in pre-season, but probably not much, to be fair. Phillips isn't better than Declan Rice. Declan Rice is much better. I think Declan Rice is better. Squad rotation is very important next season. I agree with James B. Dylan Duffy says, thank you, Alice. I watched the Euros final. I'm happy Italy won. I'm not very happy Italy won, obviously, as an England fan, but you know what? Fair play. Look, people are going to say Italy's cheats, sign a petition, do the Euros again, they strangle Saka. At the end of the day, we went 1-0 up 2 minutes in thanks to Roberto Carlos. And what did we do? We sat back for 118 minutes. We didn't look interested in scoring a goal. We defended. So we played for penalties. We lost on penalties. You can call Italy cheats, but they were the better team if you actually look at the 180 minutes. But very, very disappointed England didn't win. Alice, can you see Man United challenging and putting out a statement if they get Varane and maybe CAMAVINGA? If we get Varane, we keep Pogba and we sign another midfielder, I believe there's a chance. But I try and be a positive Man United fan. I try and be an optimistic Man United fan. I always try and see the positives. I'm always like, you know what, I'm 80% Varane's going to come. I always try and be a positive Man United fan when it comes to United news and all of that. And I always try and be ambitious and stuff. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to say we're going to win the league because I would be surprised. But I think it's definitely possible. But it really depends on who Man City buy, who Liverpool buy, who Chelsea buy. I'm going to do Premier League predictions at the end of the transfer window. I will do Premier League predictions. So I don't really want to say where I think anyone's going because you just don't know who your rivals buy. You don't know who we're going to buy and all of that. Sade says, in my opinion, Fred is excellent in Copa America because Casemiro is playing a CDM. He seems like an old-fashioned box-to-box midfielder. And that's the thing. I said, look, we don't need to sign a box-to-box. We don't need to sign an attacking midfielder. All we need is a CDM because McTominay's best games for Man United come as a box-to-box. Fred is really good at box-to-box. Donny's obviously fantastic at box-to-box because Donny and Matic look 10 times better than Fred. And obviously we know what Pogba's like box-to-box. You get a CDM, you can play CDM and Pogba, CDM and Donny, CDM and Fred, CDM and McTominay. And all four of those players will look better next to a CDM. You know, McTominay and Pogba in a pivot, you're not getting the best out of Paul Pogba. Declan Rice and Pogba, you're getting the best out of Paul Pogba. Declan Rice and Fred, you probably get the best out of Fred. You know, I think the pivot, every player that plays on the pivot is dragged down a bit because they need a CDM next to them. And the best games we've ever played is Matic holding Pogba, Bruno right after COVID because Matic could do that CDM style. Or even Matic, Donny look better than McFred. And a lot of it is because Man United desperately need a CDM. I'm going to read out a couple more questions. Alice, do you think Sancho will wear number 7 and Varane will wear number 4? Honestly, no idea, but I can see that happening. I can see that happening. It's my birthday today, and hopefully we get Varane soon. Happy birthday to Noah in the chat. And play Sancho as CDM. Honestly, play anyone as CDM. I think Tuanzebe could be given a little bit of a run-in at CDM. And JB says, like you said, let's see how Man United do. Results, quality of performances, signings we make, and how our rivals do in comparison. Yeah, I think we've got to wait till the end of the transfer window to really judge where we think Man United will finish next season. I think you can't judge the transfer window till the end of it and all of that. Yeah, I was really happy that Gilberto Carlos scored in the final. What a fantastic player. And I hope we can sign Varane and Trippier and hopefully CAMAVINGA. I agree with you. And keep Paul Pogba, of course, and all of that. If you just joined the live stream, I was just reporting the latest Varane news that, you know, obviously the Athletic say that sources involved in the Varane deal and sources close to the Varane Man United deal believe that Varane will join Manchester United. You know, agents have told Florentino Perez today that Varane wants to leave. Obviously, you know, from Fabrizio Romano, personal terms isn't an issue. Fabrizio Romano says he believes Varane wants to come to Manchester United and is not using us for a new contract. And reports coming in today say if Man United pay the money for Rafael Varane, they will sign Rafael Varane. But, you know, if we pay the money, we will get him. And Real Madrid, they've got financial issues. They want Mbappe. They're going to have to sell Varane because he wants to leave. So I think the Varane to Man United situation is very, very likely for United. 80% Varane joins Man United. There has been a bit of a CAMAVINGA blow today. I'm still 50-50 on CAMAVINGA to Man United, but he looks like he could be going elsewhere. I'm still 50-50 on whether Pogba stays or Pogba goes. We have to wait for some more news on that. There's obviously news that it's Sancho, Varane and the third signing coming to Manchester United. Could that third signing be Kieran Trippier with links to Delo leading and more links to Trippier coming? Or could that third signing be actually Declan Rice because West Ham needs something to help them afford Jesse Lingard? We will have to wait and see on that front. But that is sort of the latest Manchester United news coming in today. And of course, Rashford will miss 2 months with injury and reports saying that Varane is looking for a house in the Manchester area. So make sure you do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please subscribe down below to the channel as I do daily Manchester United updates on the channel. So for all the latest transfer news, please do subscribe. If we sign a player, there will be a live stream. If we're close to signing a player, there will be a live stream. There'll be watch-alongs, you know, pre-season coming up, match reactions, match previews to the game. We'll be seeing a lot of the youngsters in pre-season. We might see Sancho play for Man United towards the end of pre-season and all of that. So please do subscribe for all of that. And Dylan Duffy says, Alice, in my opinion, the company should ban social media because it's causing so much drama. I think they should just ban monkey emojis and racist phrases from social media. Like, it's not hard. I don't know why they don't act on it and all of that. It's my birthday as well. Hope Sancho wears 7 and proves well. I hope Sancho's a good signing because if it's a flop, you won't hear the fucking end of it from rival fans. Will Sancho play in Rashford role left wing or right wing? I think it really depends. It could be Martial left wing, Cavani striker, Sancho right wing. But then we could also have Sancho left wing, Greenwood right wing, Martial up top. I think it really depends. I think there'll be a rotation of left and right wing. But I think when Rashford comes back, Sancho will play more on the right. But I think while Rashford's out, Sancho will be rotated between the left and the right wing and all of that. Happy to join the platform. Nice show, Alice. Thank you very much for the support. And Rebuild FC says, if we do the Rice Lingard thing, it will be Lingard 80 million, Rice 80 million. Well, seeing as West Ham are saying they value Declan Rice at West Ham value Declan Rice at 90 million pounds. So what United are doing is they're going, okay, if you value Declan Rice at 90 million pounds, we value Jesse Lingard at 30 million pounds because we know West Ham definitely want Jesse Lingard. Well, I think give them Lingard and 60 million pounds or maybe even 50 million pounds if Rice pushes for the move. And you could get Declan Rice. But I don't think United will seriously go in for Declan Rice unless Paul Pogba leaves. And I have a feeling that Paul Pogba could leave. But again, I am very, very 50-50 on Paul Pogba staying or going or leaving if you know the situation and all that. Please do subscribe down below. If I didn't answer any of your live chats and you have a question for me, please make sure you are subscribed down below so I can answer them in my next live stream. I am going to end the live stream here, but thanks to everyone for tuning in today's live stream. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and of course subscribe down below. If I wasn't able to answer one of your live chats, just pop it in tomorrow's live stream and I'll try and answer any live chats I didn't answer in today's live stream in tomorrow's live stream. So make sure you subscribe with bell notifications on down below so I can answer those comments. Of course, subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. Thanks for all the support. Like, subscribe, share. See you next time. Thanks for watching.